The trailer for the new Superman has been posted online and it's gotten a lot of attention, and rightfully so. It's a good trailer. I want to share a few of my thoughts and theories and throw in a bit of fan fiction for what could happen in Superman. On July 11th, 2025 begins the start of the theatrical new DC universe. The start has already begun with Creature Commandos on Max, but as I mentioned, the start of the theatrical DC universe begins with Superman. The question becomes, how does this Superman connect with the audience that seems to have abandoned the DC universe? The last few iterations to Superman, Brandon Routh and Henry Cavill, have not connected with the audience as much as DC would have liked. In particular, with Henry Cavill's Superman, some have loved that version and some have hated that version. The majority, I would say, are in the middle. So how do you differentiate this new Superman from the more recent versions and have an emotional connection with the audience? One thing that James Gunn, who wrote and directed the movie, but is also overseeing the new DC universe, is doing is introducing Superman in a world that already has superheroes. Essentially, Superman is the new kid on the block. This introduces new concepts that we haven't seen before with Superman. In this world where superheroes already exist, some will be funded by enterprises, others will work for governments, and some will do their own thing, which will probably label them as vigilantes. As Superman arrives on the scene and his power set is revealed, enterprises and governments will seek to work with him. As the trailer implies, he's very popular, both good and bad. This could also cause some of the superheroes to take note and have resentment towards him, but also fear him. More than likely, this version of Superman will not work with enterprises or governments, at least not in an official manner. He may work with them on occasion, but on a basis-to-basis situation. I could see a scenario where Lex Luthor approaches Superman to work with him, and Superman turns him down. Lex Luthor, in turn, tries to manipulate the world and have them see Superman as an alien with godlike powers who needs to be feared and controlled. Since Superman won't work with enterprises and governments in an official capacity, he may be seen as a vigilante. Those in power would probably seek a way to combat this godlike figure. This could be where Metamorpho could come into the picture. Usually with superhero movies, what is in the comic books doesn't always translate to the big screen, and so things are changed. I could envision a version of Metamorpho that differs from the comics, but it has the same super set of abilities as in the comics, which gives him the power to change his body into different periodic elements, such as gas and liquids. This also gives him a monstrous appearance. So while he saves people, he is also feared and shunned by society. What I envision is someone like Lex Luthor or Simon Stagg created Metamorpho. He studied, probed, and suffers throughout, but once his transformation is complete, he wants to help people and be a superhero. He then becomes a scapegoat after something happens where people get hurt or die, and gets set up for him and Superman to fight. Superman tells Metamorpho to come with him as he will turn him into the authorities. Metamorpho refuses and tells him that he wasn't the cause of the destruction. Superman takes no for an answer and puts his hand on Metamorpho. They begin to fight, and Metamorpho throughout is pleading with Superman that if he's taken to authorities, he's going to be studied and go through more pain. Superman won't listen, and they continue to fight. Metamorpho grows tired of the fighting and turns his arm to liquid, and the liquid gets injected into Superman through his mouth, ears, and nose. This causes Superman to begin to choke. Superman is lying on the floor with a look of fear and desperation in his eyes. Metamorpho stands over him and with tearful eyes begins to tell Superman that he's only seen as a monster. He tells Superman that he's an actual alien, but because he looks like them, he looks human, and so they connect with him. With a ton of emotion, Metamorpho tells Superman that they don't connect with him and fear him. Metamorpho then removes the liquid from Superman's lungs, allowing him to breathe again. As Superman recovers and stands up, he sees the defeated Metamorpho. Superman walks towards Metamorpho, places a hand on Metamorpho's shoulder, and tells him, "I'm sorry." Not only apologizing for him personally, but for everything he's gone through. I do want to mention that if that actually happened and Liquid was drowning Superman, I would imagine that his defense system would kick in right before dying. The same energy that allows him to shoot lasers from his eyes would probably cause his body to react, and his internal temperature would rise and evaporate the liquid. The mid or post-credit scene that I could see happening is a shot of Batman from behind, probably because the casting of the new Batman hasn't been made, and we see him closing a safe or some type of box that contains a piece of kryptonite. This alludes to Batman having contingencies for super beings. Everything I mentioned is part speculation, theory, and mostly fan fiction. If you enjoyed the video, consider subscribing and watch the video on the screen where I compare two Western movies. See you in the next video.